Well, it was the same time. I wrestled. The good thing about Ben Schwartzwalder is that I could wrestle professionally if it was here in Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, and the two towns in New York State, that it didn't interfere with my coaching. And on a Friday, Roy Simmons and I would hop in a car and drive to wherever we had to scout. We'd go down to Princeton, or we went to Lehigh, and over to Pitt, down to Penn State. We scouted whoever we were going to play that following Saturday. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Are you there, Destroyer?
Yes.
So you were scouting who you were playing for Saturday, and then when would you wrestle?
Oh, I would wrestle on a Friday night in Pittsburgh, or I'd wrestle on Sunday. I wrestle Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If I could get away from practice at 6 o'clock, I could wrestle in Syracuse. I could wrestle in Rochester. I could wrestle in Buffalo. All those towns. Syracuse went on a Tuesday. Rochester went on a Wednesday. Buffalo went on a Friday. So I could wrestle as long as it didn't interfere with my coaching.
Did they know, did people know you were the wrestler, that you were the Destroyer, or you were wrestling, or was this very secret? Was this a secret back then?
No, it wasn't a secret. I was introduced as the line coach at Syracuse University, and that gave me a lot of publicity from the different towns like yourself. I'd wrestle in Buffalo because I was a Buffalo boy, or I wrestled in Rochester. I went to Syracuse. I played at Syracuse.
Was this before?
It wasn't until I moved out of the Buffalo area, and I wanted to get out of the area because I went into the promoter and I says, you know what, I need to get some main events so I can make some money. And the fella says, you're too small.
Oh, wow. How about that? How about that? They wouldn't let you main event because you were too small.
Yeah, that time
But at that time, you were not wearing the mask, correct?
That's when I wasn't wearing the mask.
So then how did this...
I grew.
Yeah, when the mask... Right, the mask turns you into this superpower, this unbelievable wrestler that they all wanted to sign and use on matches and main events. So how did you get the mask?
Hawaii. A friend of mine got me booked in Hawaii, and I wrestled some people in Hawaii in New York that liked my style of wrestling, and I went in Hawaii and I wrestled. Then the fella who somebody says mask, and I put it on. And I can't see, and I can't breathe, and anyway, I get through the match, and I come back to the dressing room, and Hardy Kruskamp was the promoter in Long Beach. And Jules Strongbow was the boss in California. So I come back to the dressing room and I take that mask off and I say, Hardy, you go and tell Jules Strongbow that he has seen the first and last of the Destroyer. A fellow by the name of
Ox Anderson.
I gotta get a name.
Ox Anderson.
Pardon?
Ox Anderson.
That's it.
There you go. You've got a little bit of help there today. Is that your lovely wife?
Yes.
So it was Ox Anderson, right?
Yeah, it was Ox Anderson. He had a mask, and he throws the mask to me, and I says, well, how is this made? He says, it's made from a woman's girdle. I says, you just turn the girdle upside down where you got the straps on the top and the string on the bottom, and if your wife can sew, she can sew it. So my wife at the time was a good seamstress, and she made the mask. So I was the only guy in wrestling that I know of that stuck his head in a girdle every night.
And that girdle made you famous. It's a great story, and it's unbelievable. But that mask is something no one has that I know of has ever worn a mask like that before. Even I'm looking at the mask now. I'm actually as I'm doing the audio, I'm actually showing the mask on video. So I'm seeing the mask. It's a great mask, and it's also it gives you that menacing look as well. Did you like that mask? Did you like it, or did it have to grow on you?
I tell you what, when I wore the mask that Vic Christie gave me, I couldn't get it off fast enough when I got back to the dressing room. But when Ox Anderson threw that mask over to me, it fit perfect. I says, what is it? He says, it's a woman's girdle. I says, where did you buy them? Oh, where do you buy them? And he says, you can get the girdles at Woolworths. He says, take your wife and go to Woolworths and try on masks. Well, I was in Woolworths and I attracted a crowd because I'm standing in the lingerie section pulling on these masks. Girdles. Anyway, I found out that I wore a small tall. So I finally got to be tall.
That's right. That's amazing. Oh, that's great, though. It's just great. And then you traveled all over the world. You really did a awesome job as far as, I want to ask you this. Did you bridge anything with American wrestlers competing in Japan? Or were American wrestlers competing in Japan at the time?
Yes, they were competing over there, and I did a lot of pro wrestling over there. I lived there 6 years with my wife and 3 kids.